efforts are well in progress after the signed peace accord in Tigray region. And a foreign policy analyst says Africa should not be a playground for global powers. Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Biniam Gatana. Thank you for joining us. Now, the news in full. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, His Excellency Demeke Mekonnen, held discussion with the UN Secretary General's Special Advisor on solutions to internal displacement, His Excellency Robert Piper, at his office today. And the discussion focused on the efforts to counter internal displacement and the efforts the government has put in place to curb the existing challenge. Demeke briefed the special advisor about the government's commitment to address natural and man-made internal displacements and the efforts underway to resolve problems that have already occurred. Furthermore, to provide a sustainable solution to a problem, various development projects are well underway in affected areas. Mr. Demeke added. Mr. Piper, for his part, affirmed that his office is working in close collaboration with the government of Ethiopia. He noted that Ethiopia's efforts concerning bringing a durable solution to internal displacement can be taken as a model by other countries. The special advisor further reaffirmed the UN office support in finance and capacity development for Ethiopia's overall efforts in the area. And the Ethiopian National Defense Force has briefed the implementation and progress of the Pretoria Peace Agreement to military attaches residing in Addis Ababa. The federal government of Ethiopia remains committed to fully implementing the peace agreement it was indicated. Aftan Washagre has more on this.
The Ethiopian National Defense Force briefed the military attaches residing in Addis Ababa in the implementation of the signed peace agreement between the federal government and TPLF. Speaking on the occasion in the National Relations and Military Cooperation Director General at the Ministry, Teshome Gemechu said the government of Ethiopia is undertaking activities based on the signed peace accord in the state of Tigray.
The peace and the stability in Ethiopia provide basic conditions to enhance political security and the economic connectivity of the Horn of Africa. This agreement has also a global significance too. There are many conflicts going on in various parts of this world without the prospect of the resolution. As a good model of the conflict resolution, the agreement for lasting peace through permanent cessation of hostilities signed on November 2022 in Pretoria, South Africa, and its implementation can also offer invaluable lesson for countries affected by conflict in another region of this globe.
According to Gemechu, the federal government of Ethiopia is recognizing the efforts of the African Union and United Nations offices to restore peace and stability in the region.
The AU have also played a great role for this agreement to happen. The UN and other members of the international community have played a great role and will hopefully continue to play an irrepressible role in the peace process which is ahead of us. As you all know, the African solution to Africa's problem is a potential effective approach to provide a continental framework for coordinating and supporting peace-building process in Africa. The AU has involved in the peace mediating and now in the monitoring and verification of the implementation of the peace process.
After the signed peace accord, Teshome underlined the federal government of Ethiopia is striving hard to realize the restoration of war-torn regions.
The government is aggressively engaged in the restoration of the facilities such as electricity, telecommunication, bank service, and also other necessary required public aid as well. Normal life is seen repeatedly restoring.
Meanwhile, the military attaches said the peace agreement between the federal government of Ethiopia and TPLF is a showcase that Africans have solution for African problems. Talking to ETV English, the military attaches who are residing in Addis Ababa appreciated the efforts made by the federal government of Ethiopia in a bid to address major bottlenecks in the Tigray region. Let's take a look.
It is possible. If I'm sure this Ethiopian Tigray issue, it will be a template for other crises within the region. That it is possible African problem to be solved by Africans. And I hope all other crisis area within the region, they will use this Ethiopian Tigray template to solve their own problem.
Are you referring to the conflict in Ethiopia as a country, South Africa? South Africa has been required to be part of the leading team to the peace process by contributing our former president, Phumzile Mnangagwa, who is currently part of the high-level panel. And part of the implementation team, we've got three senior officers from the Republic of South Africa that are part of the verification team in Mekelle that is to date.
The Ethiopian Change troops, and they have agreed. And you can see they are coming together, handing over the weapons together. It's just the AU that is monitoring. And without any force that is applying lethal power for the...
As an African myself, it's disturbing that we have conflicts in our environment, and therefore peace in Ethiopia means peace in every part of the continent.
It's a good effort from all the sides. All my advice is that the government and the TPLF should just stick to the peace agreement.
Our observation was, firstly, I think we should thank the government and the TPLF for the stance that they have taken in terms of getting to the peace agreement and committing to say we silencing the guns. And then with regard to the meeting itself, I think that is a good stance again, so that as we military attaches here, we are kept informed from time to time of the developments that are taking place in Ethiopia.
As earlier mentioned by the DA Kenya.
In other developments, the Ethiopian diaspora has been movers and shakers of Ethiopia's issues in their respective countries. It is in this consideration Ethiopia has recognized its active citizens and diaspora organizations who have been instrumental in defending the interest of Ethiopia in the past 2 years, in which the country has been passing through different challenges. The awarding event held in Addis Ababa is the first of its kind. Ethiopians in the diaspora for their genuine love to their country, which is tested rewarding. Daniel Kassan has compiled the full story.
Present at the event of the Diaspora Organizations awarding ceremony, the Ethiopian President Sahle-Work Zewde has extended a message to the participants to share more responsibilities for the country is still more desirous to gain their support at this critical time. The President indicated the diaspora's real love and devotion to motherland Ethiopia has been tested in the past 2 years, where Ethiopians in unison were defending internal and external forces that bent on destabilizing the unity, solidarity, and territorial integrity of Ethiopia.
ብዙ ስራ ሰርቷል ለሀገር ብዙ አስተዋጽኦ አድርጓል
The diaspora organizations deserve this recognition as they have been contributing a lot in the nation's development efforts. Recognizing the good deeds of the Ethiopian diaspora for doing what is expected of them is commendable. As original citizens, standing and supporting the Ethiopian people and government is really crucial. You have to shoulder more responsibilities to move the country forward.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Demeke Mekonnen said that the diaspora communities have played immense roles on the world stage in protecting the sovereignty and national interests of the country, at the critical time when the country was facing multiple challenges. The awardee said the recognition motivates them to continue supporting the country in various areas, including diplomacy and advocacy, as well as being the voice of the Ethiopian people.
And I'm very hopeful, and I'm also very thankful for the award, and I hope other members of the Ethiopian diaspora will engage with their country with whatever skill set they have, whether they're teachers, doctors, engineers, lawyers, priests, imams, whatever they are, they should come to Ethiopia and contribute and give back to their community.
It's great. I mean, here we are being recognized by the government of Ethiopia for the hard work that we've done for the last 2.5 years. It's hard work by a lot of thousands of people. Defend Ethiopia, founded in the UK, but then expanded to 14 different European countries. And we managed to send thousands of emails. We managed to campaign, and we managed to rally around different cities in Europe, demanding the international community to stop pressuring Ethiopia, unduly.
For our community, because the diaspora contributes lots of things on its own initiative. The diaspora society came together in different organizing groups and contributed a lot through the past 3-4 years. So recognitions as such from the government would encourage the diaspora and would also enable to create a working relationship, a good working environment between the diaspora and the government, and to resolve various differences and reservations that some part of the diaspora community might have regarding the administrative and security issues in the country.
Overcome every problem, every obstacle, and this recognition is just a reminder for us that we need to be united, and also that the problems are still vast, that we need to get together and in various activities, in social, economic, and political advancement, and also we need to be heard as a diaspora, regardless of who is in power. Our country has to be there, and we need a link with our country, so we need to create this bridge.
The recognition were given to some 52 Ethiopian diaspora organizations drawn from 25 countries and members of the diaspora who actively participated in support of the country on various occasions.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and WorldRemit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Burr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
A wedding is almost always a huge affair, but when it comes to Ethiopian weddings, the magnitude of importance increases exponentially. Ethiopian wedding tradition and culture is one of the richest in the African continent and has mostly remained unblemished over the years. As such, the Ethiopian wedding ceremony is a beautiful sight to see. Ethiopian weddings are a vibrant affair thanks to the rich Ethiopia wedding traditions. Even though some couples are choosing to have modern weddings, most still incorporate traditional customs in their Ethiopian wedding ceremonies. Tulosh is a formal procedure which is undertaken 2 days before the main wedding. The ceremony takes place in the bride's family home and is an opportunity for the groom and his family to share the bride with gifts.
That's it. And that's it. You turn. No, that's it. That's how you got shot. And this is what.
Upon arrival of the groom and his entourage to the bride's home, they find everyone, including the bride, ready and waiting. Those inside the bride's house go outside singing a traditional song that says they will not let anyone in the house. The official engagement and eating of the cake follows next. Oddly enough, the real engagement takes place on the actual day of the Ethiopian wedding.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, stepping to another development news. A foreign policy analyst said that although the colonial history has its share in the current political and economic situation of Africa, the failure of Africans to fulfill their responsibilities has also played a role. A foreign policy analyst, Buma Dejene, said that Africa should move away from being a competitive playground of Western powers and protect its own interests as a continent. In addition, the analyst said that Ethiopia should increase its geopolitical superiority in the Horn of Africa by achieving internal stability. Johannes Fanton has compiled the full story. Take a look.
It is believed that the colonial pressure exerted by the US and European countries has a large share in the shape of Africa as a continent and its political, economic and other international relations. In an interview with the TV's Diplomatic Insight program, foreign policy analyst Buma Dejene says that the history of the colonial era plays a significant role in Africa's current appearance in the global landscape.
The European powers exploited Africa's resources, Africa's population to their own development and to their own advancement. So the transatlantic slave trade massively impacted Africa's economy, African society, and African state structure.
Although colonialism has played a major role in Africa's current situation, the analyst says that Africans have not played their part enough to make their continent develop.
Africans should take their own responsibility, at the same time understand the lingering legacies of colonialism, the lingering legacies of transatlantic slave trade. There are some lingering legacies of colonialism, and this generation of African society, African people, have the responsibility to change this dynamics, this balance of power with international powers, with international engagement. So the understanding of African society, the understanding of African history, and Africa's relations with global powers, including Europe and America, is very critical to understand how Africa has become a marginal player in the global geopolitical environment.
Remembering that Africa, especially East Africa, has become a competition playground for the world's greatest power countries, Dejene emphasized that Africa should not be a playground for political, economic and arms competition between the superpowers of the globe, and for this, the continent should work together instead of individually.
The West is now pursuing a strategy of great power competition with China, with Russia, and they are understanding the age as an age of great power competition. And Africa plays an important role in this, in their strategy, in their strategic compass, in their strategic understanding of the world. But we need to be critical as Africans, because Africa shouldn't be a geopolitical battleground. As Africans, we need to articulate our African interests, our collective African interests, and try to deal and try to manage this geopolitical competition rather than becoming a geopolitical battleground, a geopolitical chessboard for global powers.
The analyst also shared his opinion that Ethiopia should work on domestic stability and peace so that it can continue to maintain its geopolitical dominance and desirability in the East African region.
The West and other partners increase their interest, and Ethiopia becomes a critical player in the region if we put our house in order and if our foreign policy begins at home. What does that mean? Over the last 2 years, Ethiopia faced a major internal challenge. There has been violence, war, conflict. And so now this time should be about stability, it should be about prosperity, it should be about bringing more development rather than engaging in these domestic frictions, domestic conflicts that basically endanger our strategic significance. So any strategic outlook, any foreign policy outlook should begin at home.
Stating that the war of the past 2 years has affected Ethiopia greatly, the Dejene said that everyone should work together for peace, development and prosperity.
Moving on, Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Alelin Admasu, said Israel will further strengthen its cooperation with Ethiopia in agriculture and technological development. In an exclusive interview with ETV, the ambassador said Israel has a long-standing relationship with Ethiopia, especially in trade, investment, culture and people-to-people ties. Jerusalem Beza has compiled the full story. Take a look.
The long-standing diplomatic relationship of Ethiopia and Israel is marked by strong historical and religious ties. Approached by ETV, Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Alelin Admasu, stated that the multifaceted relationship between the two countries is still strong. Particularly, the two countries are working closely in agriculture, technology, innovation and other sectors.
Israeli investors have shown interest in investing in agriculture, technology and other sectors in Ethiopia. Particularly, they have been participating in horticulture investment by using high-tech farming system around Debre Zeit in the state of Oromia. They also provide their products for the international market. Israel will assist Ethiopia to increase production and productivity by supporting agriculture through technology.
Ambassador Alelin further stated that his country will continue its cooperation with the Ethiopia in aviation sector.
Activities have been carried out with the Ethiopian Airlines, which is prominent in aerospace in Africa. The cooperation between Ethiopian Airlines and Israel Aerospace Industries is the conversion of the aircraft into a freighter, also boosts the airline's cargo shipment capacity and enhances its services.
In the health sector, Israel will work closely to cooperate with health institutions in different parts of Ethiopia through exchange of experience, cardiology and other fields. Ambassador Alelin, who recalled the people-to-people relationship of the two countries, disclosed that more than 7,000 Israeli tourists came to Ethiopia to take part in the Ethiopian Epiphany Timkat festival this month.
In our business segment, Ethiopia Capital Market Authority disclosed that it has finalized preparation to launch Ethiopia Capital Market within the coming 2 years. On the sideline of the Invest Origins, an Ethiopian Global Investment Forum, Director General of Accounting and Audit Board of Ethiopia and board member of the Ethiopian Capital Market, Hikmet Abdullah, told Fana Broadcasting Corporation that preparations are well underway to launch capital market in Ethiopia. The Director General added that the authority is conducting pre-launching preparation to implement the new market platform where securities such as shares of equity, bonds, derivatives, or other related securities are bought and sold. Human resource turnover of banks and professionalization of where bottlenecks in the past and hindering preparation towards the launch of capital market in Ethiopia. The Director General mentioned it is to be recalled that the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority was established after a consultation organized in June 2022 by the National Bank of Ethiopia. Ambassador Tefera Daribo met today with the Governor of Japan Bank of International Cooperation, Hayashi Nomutsu, and discussed investment opportunities and business enabling environment in Ethiopia. According to Embassy of Ethiopia in Tokyo, Ambassador Tefera explained the historic Ethio-Japan diplomatic relations and the growing economic and development cooperation between the two countries. And the economic reforms Ethiopia have paved the way for ever-expanding investment opportunities and a favorable business climate to the government. He also encouraged the GBIC to seize the investment opportunities and set up its support for Japanese companies eyeing to invest in Ethiopia. Nomustu, for his part, expressed his delight about the Japanese companies' investment and business engagement in Ethiopia on a wide range of sectors, including telecom sector. The governor said the Japan Bank for International Cooperation is keen on supporting Japanese companies doing businesses in Ethiopia and those potential investors who are looking for investing in Ethiopia, a country of huge market and investment potential.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and World Remit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Burr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
And finally, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrived in Eritrea on Thursday for a one-day surprise visit, the Information Ministry announced as part of an African tour. Lavrov, on his second trip to Africa in 6 months, has discussed with President Isaias Afwerki on strengthening bilateral relations as well as regional developments of interest to the two countries, the ministry said. Eritrea, one of the most closed-off countries in the world, was one of the only 5 countries to vote against a UN resolution in March 2022 condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Lavrov's trip to Africa, which has become a renewed diplomatic battleground since the Ukraine war began, has also taken him to Angola, Eswatini, and South Africa. Top of the top stories once again. Ministry of Defense says that efforts are well in progress after the signed peace accord in Tigray region. And foreign policy analyst says Africa should not be a playground for global powers. You've been watching Addis News Hour with Nusam Biniam. Thank you for watching this. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye from now.